Hello and welcome to Real Hi-Fi Help. So I've made a sort of hierarchy type of way of what can I say, diagnosing equipment, telling you my journey going from the worst tube sound to the best and the worst transistor sound to the best. These are like stages that I have experienced, where I feel that if I just tell you about my experiences, then you can fill out the blanks, what brands and what type of equipment that you feel belongs in these sort of categories. But my intention of doing this video is basically just to show you guys that these are my considerations listening to a lot of gear on these levels. So these are like the lower levels going towards the higher levels, and this is what I'm thinking mentally when I'm dealing with this type of gear, and again, transistor over here, just to let you guys know that so you have some stable piece of information that you can use, so you know that what you're thinking, you're not completely alone about those types of thoughts. So yeah, we basically start here. At this level, around 0, everything is bad. You can't really, there's just no reason for keeping that gear. It's just so horrible. It basically hurts. Listening to music, it's just horrible. But then we're dealing with gear that then is kind of starting to give you hope, but still mostly bad, and you don't necessarily know it because it's kind of confusing. The feedback is so bad, you are really hugely in doubt. I remember a lot of my gear in the very start of my hi-fi journey, it was very much this category here, where it wasn't like here, but it was just extremely much in this type of category where you're just in doubt. You don't know what you're doing, you don't know how the gear is different, you're doing a lot of different stuff, it doesn't really react. And yeah, these are like the telltale signs of just really bad gear. This could also be like okay gear, but in a bad room. But yeah, that's how I'm gonna rank it. And here with tube sound, typically I would find that overly warm and tonally unbalanced and two-dimensional type of sound, that would kind of belong in this type of area. But it's kind of now starting to sound okay overall, just okay, but somehow there's something that falls a bit short. You're not really sure. Still a bit in that type of gray zone area. But here in this zone here, now we're really getting into some interesting gear that has a bit of everything, but tonality and reaction just not quite there, and 3D and layering still a bit on the poor side. But these are still some kind of flaws that are a bit charming, because overall it has some character, some stuff that pulls you in, that kind of makes you want to go like, it's okay, I'll forgive the gear for that, because it just has some kind of a personality, something there that kind of still making you interested in it. Typically here, then we get the more informative and type of analytical tube sound that is a bit rare, but somehow a bit reserved, a bit dead and weird, but kind of good. You're not really sure. You're just getting a lot more information, and it's kind of a rare thing. So you're not really sure exactly what to think, but you do like it quite a bit. And then going on to the next level here. Here we have the warm and organic type of sound, but yeah, we've basically got a higher level with pretty good layering and 3D, but you're almost convinced 100% at buying this, but you probably know that it can get a bit better. And here, no doubt about it, the gear can do stuff. It has a lot of good of hidden potential, and you can explore that. But you have to be still quite stubborn and play your cards right and do some proper combinations in order to like get all that good stuff out of it. So it's not like a 100% really good. You still have to do a lot of work. And here it's like I feel that there's like a big jump to getting this good and solid status here, where it's just good with everything, but maybe just a slight bit reserved in sound. Maybe. And when we then move down to some of the better sound here we're just crazy good. And here you're just so excited that you're considering getting an extra mortgage on your house or doing something extreme to get a hold of it. So you're actually considering selling one of your family members to get the money. Joke there, but I mean here we're just like into crazy territory almost. And in the end here, the gear's just so good. You're listening to music for hours every day with the same tracks, and they're never becoming old. You're just so pumped up and don't really care about the price of anything, because it's just it is just the best. And you can just do anything that it takes, and there's no limits. It's just your mental state, because you have that gear. I mean, you're just happy all the time. And at this level here, you can still make all things sound good, just in a lot of different ways. But hey, those are no longer problems for you, because you can just do anything that you want and just change plugs and cables and go on to another style. It all depends on the mood that you're in, and even stuff like MP3 and YouTube videos even beat all the regular top systems in the world, because it's just so solid. It's so good. It's not overly analytical and too revealing. It can just do anything that you want to the system. It's almost like the best ever. So let's just go over to Transistor here. Here I feel that, again, like with tube sound, everything is just bad. But here it gets a bit different, because I feel that with a lot of gear at the bottom quality Transistor gear, we have a lot of gear that's just very loose, very weak in sound, and has a really bad timing. And the structure is like really bad, really messy. You're not really sure. It's kind of all over the place, but still there's some sort of numbness mixed with a tiny bit of perhaps a little bit of hint of warmness, but you're still not very sure. Here, then we just move over to some significantly better gear, which is kind of okay, but you're still not really sure. It has a bit of a suspiciously sounding stock sound, but yeah, it's still so bad you're not certain. And I feel that a lot of equipment belongs in these two categories, and that people that are in these on these levels here, they then start to look for gear that's around here, perhaps here if they have more money than normal. And here we definitely start improving, because it shows some really good qualities, but still timing and tonality and naturality feels it could improve, and imaging still very flat, but you know, showing a lot of promise. And here we're like going from this gear to this gear, it's like boom, huge difference. This is like the pretend hi-fi gear that a lot of people on these levels here go for, and they consider this here to be like some of the best gear, because they never really challenge anything above the standard. So they like it linear, they like it cool, they like this really stable volume type of thing, where you are getting a perceived depth that is a lot better than this. It is a lot better than these levels. And really all things are just really spot on, almost perfect in a way. But still there's something that you can't really put your finger on that's bugging you. And you might easily do a lot of combinations by cables, move stuff in the room, to use a different room, whatever. And it's kind of a zone where I feel that a lot of people, they kind of end their destination around these two areas here, and they never go for these two other areas. But let's just go over to the other areas. These are like some of the more rare areas here, where I feel that it's just more organic, more natural, more integrated, and it has some of that rare natural color that you did not think you could ever get from a transistor piece of gear, like on these levels here. It's just, it almost feels like you're getting into a tube kind of sound here. But there's still, technically it isn't quite there at the top, even though it's pretty good. It's still pretty good, above average. And again, all the previous stuff that is good, but just with a lot better structure and layering, really just that I feel you get around this level. And then here we get into some crazy good structure and 3D and layering, but perhaps just a bit unnatural. You're not really sure, because it's so impressive, it's so revealing, there's just so much happening that you're not really sure that there is anything that's slightly wrong. So you're kind of perhaps forgiving the gear a bit, being patient, because it's just like almost overwhelmingly good. So you wouldn't really consider upgrading, because that's probably like I'm not going to mention any brands, but you go from that level over to this level, and now you've basically have everything, all information, all the deep character human traits, but still maybe a tad bit boring and analytical, even though it has a lot more information than this layer here. But you're not quite sure. This is like, when we're dealing with gear like this and this, there are probably only like a couple of thousand people in the world, is my guess, that has equipment like this. So it's pretty rare, and it's very difficult to get to these levels. But still, if I had to give up my tube sound, I would still probably be happy staying at this level for the rest of my life, because it's just so, it's just so informative. There's so much structure, layering, dimension, that it can really wow you when you're coming from the tube world and you're dealing with a lot of the regular stuff. So very tempting to get this sound. Very, very, very tempting. And here at the end destination of transistor sound, which I feel that I've kind of heard, that of course everything can still get better, so I shouldn't be arrogant and say that I've heard the very, very, very best. Everything constantly gets better in my world, and I'm probably never going to reach that end destination completely, but at least this is the best sound that I've heard so far. And I feel that with Transistor, then you're satisfied with everything, and you just don't have any reservations. But it's not like with the top tube sound, where it's like an exorcism, where you're being like pulled out of your body and doing all kinds of things, and you're just completely pumped up and just want to punch your fist through the wall. It's a very different type of energy, and definitely structure. It's still very structure based, and everything just feels perfect, balanced, firm, solid. You're not really doubting anything. But again, you have the ability to bias the sound and go in what direction that you want to at this level. So that's it. That's how I see all the gear that I've tested, and these are like my general points to mentally where I was when I was testing gear on different levels in the tube world and the transistor world. And it's just to give you guys some feedback. You might have different considerations, but these are just like the thoughts that I'm carrying in my head. And I feel that if I can write them down and not have this in my head, it's kind of, it relieves me a bit, so I don't have to think too much when I listen to music. And definitely when you're in the transistor world and you're moving up the ladder here towards the better equipment, you're getting so much information generally that you're very much in, I wouldn't say in your head, but there is just so much information. It's a very different flow from the tube sound compared to when you're going all the way up. And I have to say that it's difficult for me to prioritize which one would I have. Would I have the top tube sound or the top transistor sound? I have to say that I can't make up my mind, because I would actually like both worlds, where I have the top tube and the top transistor sounds, because I feel that when I have that, it makes me look at something in a much better way, where I feel that my judgment isn't being biased or impaired, because you can easily stick in a type of sound, in a type of world that makes you judge everything in the wrong way. And that's also the reason why I have a transistor sound setup downstairs, and I have a tube sound upstairs. And that's also one of the reasons why I constantly change equipment, constantly change gear, just to satisfy my curiosity and just, for shits and giggles, having a lot of fun. But those are my considerations, and I hope this helps you guys on your journey to what you consider is good. And I just want to say that even though I would probably put gear like MLabs, Meitner, and Macintosh here, you could still be in a different type of reality where you feel that doesn't belong here, that you would probably put it more like here, or here, or maybe even at the very top. And if you feel that like that is how you perceive things, that is perfectly fine, because this is just to help so that you can kind of orientate yourself to figure out what you really think about your own equipment and where you want to go. So it isn't for me to like impose my opinions on you. So yeah, I hope this helps you guys. Remember to like and subscribe. Bye.